Hello Polo Minions, welcome to the bridge. Today we're going to be diving into some immersive leaks around Illuvium's RPG and Auto Battler. They have released a bunch of videos around 2 new regions and the arena, a dark and gloomy Abyssal Basin, and an expansive Brightland Steppes, and to top it off with several new Illuvials. Let's get started. If you haven't heard of Illuvium, they're a very ambitious project, trying to build 3 games at the same time and have them all shipped together, where the assets from one game will be usable in their other games. Let's start off with their first new region, the Abyssal Basin. This location looks like it is straight out of a horror game. Dark scenery, an overgrown forest, and deadly waters everywhere. It looks like it will take some skill and potentially some upgraded equipment before you can even explore. The lily pads move and you'll have to time your jumps and conserve energy to make it across these toxic lakes. The Illuvium team also revealed a new ring mechanic that will close in on the obelisk after you pass a power threshold on your drone, Mozart. Once this is activated, you must quickly make your way back to the obelisk, attempting to collect any resources or make any last-minute captures. This means it'll be really important to prep a planned path back to the obelisk to use the remaining drone power. And it appears the dev team has implemented some useful upgrades to outrun this ring. We can see some new visual effects when sprinting, and it suggests that sprinting may consume energy just like the jetpack, which also means we may be able to upgrade that sprint mechanic, making it easier to cover territory and get out of that ring of death. Brightland Steppes is the opposite. It looks like a pleasant walk in the park where you can take in the scenery and explore an incredibly large and beautiful floating island system. Exploration in this region will involve a lot of verticality and probably some falls into the void. This region showcased some other interesting leaks, including the reveal of morph pods. These new floating materials appear to be a new consumable or deposit node, or perhaps a whole new resource category altogether. This is very interesting because it would add an entirely new layer of collecting for the overworld, possibly including a new chipset to optimize Mozart. I wonder if Illuvium plans to have a unique resource node in each region with specialized chip optimization. It could foster a very strong player-driven economy and have players in specialized roles, similar to popular MMOs with class and trait systems. However, there needs to be a balance between making too many chipsets and keeping it fun for that single individual gamer. But Brightland Steppes had a lot more to show, including some new exciting movement mechanics. The bubble system. It will be a primary elevation mechanic to reach the top of these steps. While riding this elevator, you'll be able to check out the gorgeous scenery and look for valuable loot on the way. Once the bubble pops, you can activate your glider. This new movement mechanic looks so much fun and reminds me of Anthem's flying mechanics. It'll feel so good to get a bird's eye view of the region and scan for Illuvials and resource nodes. Once you land, you can activate your slide mechanic, where you'll be able to shred the slopes on the mountain, banking and carving as if you were riding a snowboard. With all these new movement mechanics in 2 massive regions, PB2 Overworld looks to have 50 to 100 hours of new gameplay, and I can't wait to get access. But this was not all that was released this week. We also have several new Illuvials coming to this patch, and along with the leaks, I was actually able to play with one of the developers and check some of these new units out. Let's start off with Crunk. This guy is an absolute unit, only a stage 2, but he's quite tanky and will be great against air and tempest front lines as a bulwark. And there are some major changes coming to how synergies work, really separating the primary and composite synergies in how they scale. Lower stage bulwarks in mass could potentially be way better than his Colossus on its own. But back to Crunk. What really makes him pop is the visual effects and texturing. They've put so much detail into his model, and it surpasses every other auto battler in graphics and VFX. Next we have Pho. This plump stage 1 chicken has claws. As a fighter, I'm sure it'll be an early game tank shredder, piercing through the armor. I can't wait to show y'all the stage 3. Phosphorus. I had an opportunity to see it in action, and the colors on this bird are incredible, and it truly does shred. I also was able to see 3 new rogue units, starting with the Gorilla. This little guy packs a punch, especially for his ult that dives on the most vulnerable enemies and kills off those squishy units quickly. We also have Stabbin', who will be diving the backline and ruining your opponent's day. This stage 2 penguin has an ultimate that increases his attack speed. You don't want to leave him alone with your Scion units. And lastly, we have probably my favorite unit next to Umber, Gyro. This Slayer rogue has some of the coolest gameplay mechanics out of all the units. He's a rogue but has ranged attacks, and his ultimate is to dive into the enemies and shoot spikes everywhere. This guy's so cool. He'll be really hard to play, but if they scale his damage in specific ways, he could absolutely wreck the opponent's board. Once this build is available, there will be so much new content, and I really believe this will be a huge onboarding ramp for new gamers in the ecosystem. I've been granted 10 beta keys. If you would like to get access to this game, give us a comment letting us know you want a key, and which of the 5 Illuvials look the best to you. Please subscribe for more content, and see you guys next time.